Okay, Short Issues Podcast, Episode 3. We are here with town personality, star Democrat columnist, um, good take machine in the comments section very often, Mike Estrella. Um, so the issue du jour that everyone's very upset about is they've got these new 96-gallon trash cans from Republic Services delivered to them. Was it Sunday or Monday?
It was
And
last week.
last week, yeah. And I think there's a lot of people who actually didn't know that this was going on. I mean, people very commonly don't tune in for the commissioner sessions to keep abreast of the situation. So before we talk about the new 96-gallon cans, I was kind of wondering if you could give us a little bit of run up as to how we got here and why this has happened. Very big questions. You think you can start on that?
Sure. One particular commissioner has had this in his mind for a decade or more. When he ran before and was a commissioner, DuPont always had it in mind that he wanted to get rid of the trial and trash pickup and vendor that out. It
Mm-hmm.
was studied. It was studied back in 2010 when he was first on the commission, and the numbers just didn't work out. The numbers showed that the town could do it very much cheaper than a vendor could do it, than outsourcing would do it. So instead of vendoring it out, the town had decided to buy a new trash truck and just continue on. And here we are in 2021, 22. And the same commissioner has been successful this time with the help of several other folks in getting what he wanted, which is the town is now going to be out of the trash collection business, kind of. And that kind of, there's a hitch in the giddy up here. The trash collection is more than just the weekly pickup of trash at the residence. The trash pickup also includes bulk pickup. You got an old refrigerator or something you want to get rid of, used to call the Public Works Department and schedule a pickup for that. It also includes yard waste from all the residents. And additionally, it includes a weekend pickup during and I believe I'm right here, a weekend pickup during the season to get rid of the trash and the trash cans on Talbot Street and around the parks. Now, when we outsourced it, I don't believe that those other items that I just let you know about were part of the outsourcing. At least that was what was said in a public meeting. No one's ever seen the bid, as far as I know. I mean,
so just to be clear, the town will still pick up extra yard waste or large objects. Is that correct?
The town is still picking up. The town crew, the public works guys, will still pick up all the yard waste, all the bulk, and as far as I know, they still will do that town run during the season to pick up trash off of Talbot Street in the parks. So we're not saving 100% on the trash pickup because the company that's got the bid didn't get the whole job. They only got the residents. And yes, they are 96-gallon trash cans.
Right. So big question. Why why did we have a public service before, and why is it private now? I mean, you said that there's a commissioner who has had this on their mind for quite a while. But in terms of their justifications as to why they've implemented this outsourcing, can you explain that at all?
No. And if you ask them the question, you'll get a thank you for your question and no response.
Yeah.
I have a belief that, if you're not providing a service, then you don't have to pay somebody to do the service. And if you don't have to pay somebody to do the service, then you can get a tax cut. I think in my opinion, that's what causes these kinds of actions to occur.
So, are you saying the town is getting a tax cut from the privatization, or the
I
consolidation?
believe that in the discussions during the budget cycle and at other times, that the term tax cut or tax break or whatever you want to call it was used. Um, I believe that's why it was done, but nobody's really saying why they did it. They do give you one excuse,
Hmm.
the one rationale. They have other things they want the public works staff to do, and this frees up a whole day of time, so the public works will have time to do other things. What those other things are, nobody seems to say. They do have other jobs. I mean, the same guys that pick up your trash plow your streets, and they fix your water meters, and they conduct all kinds of testing on the water supply and make sure the wells are running and all that stuff. These guys are more than just trash guys.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I kind of wanted to ask that because I watch the commissioners meetings, all of them, and sometimes it's hard to just hear the audio, but also like there's sort of this air around the trash issue. They sort of just treat it like it's some sort of uninteresting foregone conclusion, not worthy of discussion or real inquiry. It's kind of the vibe that they treat these questions with very often. So I wanted to make sure that I'm understanding correctly. And you seem to be getting the same impression from them that they kind of have a non-transparency issue around the trash outsourcing.
Well, I requested to see the bid, and I never did see it. Normally, a bid process in this town requires that the bids be open in public and discussed in public and available to the residents if they want to see them. That didn't happen with this bid, and there was only one bidder, by the way. There are multiple other companies that could have provided the service had we gone after them, but we only got the one bid. So whatever they say over the next 3 years is what we're going to have to pay.
Okay, that's an interest. Okay, so 3 years is as long as this contract is.
I believe it's a 3 year contract. The original bid, I think, called for a 3 year contract to give us a price for year one, year two, and then year three.
I've been reading a little bit about Republic Services. They appear to be having some worker issues in the state of Washington and California, some strikes going on. But if you look at the Better Business Bureau, they have numerous complaints from people like us who have had their trash privatized by the town. Um, kind of making the same type of claims that people were making in the Facebook group that, oh, this can is too big. You guys didn't pick up for 3 weeks. You've ignored my street for 3 weeks. This and that. And yeah, I made a comment this morning that this is a feature of these type of programs. I mean, the trash is now mostly outside of the democratic oversight of the town now because it's not a public service; it's been privatized. So we are now being made to fit into their system. So everyone has had these 96-gallon cans delivered, which is a commercial weight. I understand, and they're people don't have this much trash every week if you're a retiree, if you are a single person living alone. Um, and I believe that these cans also come with a rate increase. Is that true from your research?
I Rate increase indicates that we will be billed for something, and I haven't really nailed that down yet. It's going to, from my estimation, and from what I've heard in various meetings, including the budget cycle meetings, it will cost us more to vendor it out than it did to have it done in house. Now, we were, your words say, well, we're sort of at the mercy of Republic.
Hmm.
For Republic, we were at the mercy of the town because they set the rules for pickup and how much we could put in a can or how many cans we could have. The difference was, it was somewhat cheaper than Republic by far. Um, and the convenience of having local staff, town staff do it meant that if there was a mistake, it was quickly corrected. A couple of weeks ago, Republic decided they wouldn't pick up the recycling for a week because we had a snowstorm. And during that snowstorm, they decided they wouldn't deliver the trash cans for a week because we had the snowstorm. During that same snowstorm, our town staff picked up the trash, picked up yard waste, and plowed the streets all on time. So in my estimation, we're trading a good service for a bad service or for less service.
Yeah.
At a higher cost.
Yeah, yeah. And that leads me back to these economic numbers that you found out a little while ago, and I kind of wanted you to go over those today as to what the numbers are, as in terms of what the previous cost of having the public service was versus now what the town is paying for Republic services to do it.
And I saw your email yesterday or your message or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
You'll forgive me, I don't remember the exact numbers. I do remember that most of those numbers, well, the main number, the 105 number, came from a budget review meeting. They hold several budget review meetings in preparation to set the new budget. And during one of those, they were discussing the trash, and it cost the town on average $105,000 to pick up the trash. That included yard work or maintenance on the trucks, dumping fees, et cetera, et cetera. All the costs associated with taking the trash from your house to the county landfill. The other numbers came from having gone through this 10 or 15, more than 10 years ago. I remembered what the numbers were then, and I just extrapolated from there and came up with, I think I said the first year would cost about 125,000. The second year would probably cost about 130 some odd thousand, and the fourth year would probably cost about 140,000. I think those were the numbers I used.
Yeah. I can read it just right here. It says we also know that the town has about 850 stops for trash pickup. If you multiply
that number, by the way, that number also came from the budget review meeting.
Okay. So these are the best numbers we have to work with, approximately right now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, until and unless the town actually releases the bid. Now they may already have done that, and then I've just lost track of getting my question answered. But
yeah, I know. Anyways, we also know that the town has about 850 stops for trash pickup. If you multiply just the residential rate by the stops, that totals $221,000. The cost to have the town do the work was last estimated at $105,000. That means the residents will be stuck paying more than twice as much for trash pickup under the DuPont model. And we still don't know what the actual bid was. For the sake of argument, say the bid was 20% over the current town cost, say 125,000. That means we will be overpaying by almost 100,000. And where does that money go? Right? These smack guys talk transparency, but they don't seem to practice it. Yeah, very pointed. So we're paying more for even less service because, as you said, the town is still doing the leaves and the yard pickups, refrigerators, whatever the case. So we're paying them more for less service than the town already offers.
Right. That's the main point.
Yeah.
We are going to pay more for less service.
For less service. That's
now.
Yeah.
Since I published those numbers or put them out in multi or social media, the town has come out and basically announced, and I don't remember how they did it, but it's on a website somewhere, that the trash pickup will not cost anybody in town any more money than they're currently paying, whatever that means. Because we don't really currently pay for trash pickup as an item. We pay it out of our property tax that
Yeah.
all residents, homeowners, property owners pay. So we don't really have a line item that or a bill that we have to pay. That was going to change under the DuPont plan. Our water bill would have some lines added to it, and that would be for trash pickup, and then another line for recycling, as I was told by somebody in the town office, which we never paid for before either. So keep in
Right.
mind, we have the other thing that people don't realize is we have a fairly healthy, robust recycling program in this town. So yard works so trash waste is minimalized by the fact that we have this recycling program.
Yeah.
We actually, in this house, we throw away a lot more recycling into the recycling program than we do trash into the trash program. We sometimes have as little as one kitchen bag of trash, but we'll have a full dumpster of recyclable. That's what made trash pickup cheaper
Right.
for the town to do.
Right. Well, yeah. So, I mean, it's also worth illuminating that instead of this money going back into the town, this is now being sucked out by a private, national contractor.
You could say that we're not paying. We won't be paying salaries for trash pickup at the residence. We'll still be paying for that on bulk and yard waste, et cetera, but we won't do it for the main pickup.
Okay.
So that's in a way you're eliminating some jobs at the town level, which
Right.
may be, if you want a tax break, you got to eliminate services somehow to pay for the tax break.
So the town wants a tax break, kind of. And,
Well, who
it,
doesn't?
yeah, it seems to be when they talk about the town budget, I kind of hear two different narratives coming from different sectors, from the commissioners versus coming from the restaurant and business owners, as to the estimations as to what the town growth is. And it sort of seems like they wanted to they wanted to outsource the trash because the town is doing poorly, according to the commissioners. However, they seem to think very warmly about their room and board incomes and such. Like certain types of revenue have increased for certain types of people in town. But I don't get a consistent message as to is the town doing good or is the town doing bad. And I get do you think that's accurate, my characterization?
Yeah, and I'll I'll say two things on that. One is you need to look at if you're gonna tell us about how much revenue a certain segment is drawing in, you need to tell us how much of that revenue is because the prices were raised from year to year, or how much of it is because the government funded a program called PPP or whatever and provided funds to businesses. The last thing I'll say about that is here in town, we were pretty lucky. We got a guy who likes numbers and he also owns restaurants and did a fairly good study and shared it with the public and the commissioners on what was really going on as far as revenues go. I would refer you to Chris Agarabi.
Yeah, that was was that 2 meetings ago or 3 meetings ago? He came with
A couple of 3 meetings ago, yeah.
yeah, he came in with some handouts for all the commissioners as to what their food and drink revenues and stuff like that. And
Right.
this isn't these numbers aren't as sweet as you guys seem to think that they are. Is what his claim was mostly.
No, and his point was that the businesses are not doing as well as the commissioners would lead us to believe. Um, all our businesses have the same issue. They're having a hard time keeping employees, which, by the way, the town has got the same issue. I mean, our public works staff, the last I saw, was still short of a body or two. So
Right, and so yeah, good. Chris Agarabi was also kind of claiming that they, have perpetual worker shortages in town, as we know, because the cost of living here is quite high, and it's hard to attract workers when wages are low and property is very very expensive. All this and that, and this trash privatization. It seems like another regressive policy that's just going to continue to edge out poor people. It's just another little rate increase over time, just to make it a little harsher for people who are trying to work at one of the restaurants or just live here in St. Michael's.
yeah, it's interesting you call it regressive. I've got a neighbor that describes it as hell. He just he put a nickel in my left pocket and took a dime out of my right pocket.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So you said this is a 3-year contract. So what do you think the
As
prospect?
far as I know, as far as I know that the original bid, at least I was told the original bid was going to be a request for 3 years. So I'm assuming that it's a 3-year contract. Nobody's seen it, so who knows?
So in my research, I've found a problem. I forgot what the town name was. It was in Wisconsin somewhere where they privatized a trash service, and it ended up being really toxic for them overall, because what ended up happening is they sold off their infrastructure that for their formerly public service. They sold off their trawler or whatever. And do you know what's happening with the stuff like the trash truck and the other trash infrastructure that we have in town?
I don't know particularly. It's a good question to ask of the part-time town manager we now have, but
Hmm.
I'm going to assume that some of it must be kept because they still have responsibilities for trash pickups in various locations, including parks on Talbot Street, and they still have to pick up yard waste in bulk. So they'll need the front loaders and all of the trash truck to do that.
Okay, yeah, that would be a good question for the next commissioner meeting, perhaps. But I was illuminating that to say that because the town ended up selling off their trash truck and all their infrastructure they previously had, they got worse and worse contracts from the outsourced private service over time because they had lost their bargaining leverage to get a good deal. So, like, the question that I have in the back of my mind, if we're on this 3-year track, as far as we know, to be with Republic Services, what's the cost of buying it back? What's the cost of getting back our public trash service?
I don't quote me, but I'll say it in public, but don't quote me without doing some research. I think the last trash truck we bought cost $200,000 when it's all equipped up. I don't know what a front loader costs, but you can get a Caterpillar front loader for around here for however much.
Right.
As long as we're still doing plowing, we'll still require the big truck for that. And as long as that's maintained properly, we won't have to replace it. It'll always be here until they decide to outsource plowing.
Okay. Do you are you saying that you think plowing is on the agenda for the next outsourcing, or?
I'm just saying that if you're moving down the highway towards outsourcing, you're going to outsource everything you can. And once you've started in a department that has responsibilities that can be outsourced, like public works, once you started with trash, the next logical thing would be to get somebody to do bulk pickup and yard waste, and then get somebody to do plowing.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And then you don't have any public works department except for water.
Do you have any predictions for the future of the town with the private trash service? You think it's likely that we could get our trash back? Yes or no?
I think it's difficult once you get to the point where somebody's actually doing the job. These guys are tripping over themselves trying to, they're making mistakes. And some of that is something you should expect when somebody new comes in. I mean, they don't know the town as well as our guys did, so they're going to miss a street or two every now and then. But
Mm-hmm.
but once they've started, I mean, it's hard to go back.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Not to
saying.
say it can't happen, but it's hard to go back. And the other thing is the longer you wait, if you don't have the staff to do it, if the staff goes on and does something else, another town somewhere, or another job somewhere, then it's very difficult to go backwards.
Yeah, right, and that's kind of what I want to be appreciated. But this is actually like kind of like a major decision. This is a long-term piece of track that we are now on, and
The new direction.
yeah, new direction, new bold progress for the future, or whatever they say.
Yeah.
Oh, one last question, Mike. When is the next town commissioner going to be where people can ask questions to the commissioners?
And that's a funny question. You can ask questions of the commissioners at the town meetings, at the beginning of the meeting and the end of the meeting. Next meeting, I think, is January 26th at 6 o'clock. But I can't guarantee you that any commissioner will ever answer your questions.
Right. That's the risk that we take.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, maybe we should wrap there. Mike, do you want to tell people where to find you on social media? Anything like that?
No, because I like to hide and jump out of the bushes. But I'm on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, I always appreciate you coming to talk to
By the
me.
way,
What?
you're the second person that's told me in the last month or so I'm a town personality. I don't look at myself that way. I've lived here for 26 years. I started going to town meetings about 24 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's just become a habit. So, and I never have learned to keep my mouth shut. That's the problem.
Well, that's good. We honestly need people to not keep their mouths shut. I mean, look at what happened with the COVID test, that we can get free COVID tests delivered to us now. And that was inspired by someone asking Jen Psaki a question that she had a really poor response to. And this is the type of response that the government has had as subsequently. So journalism creates is enforcement. It creates good outcomes. So.
Have you signed on for your test yet?
Yeah. I ordered my test to be delivered last night. You can go. Have you seen the?
That's the easiest. That's the easiest website I've ever worked with. I mean, you go on there and in about 5 seconds you're done.
Yeah, and it's totally free. Like we almost
Yeah.
never get anything totally free from the government. So, all right, Mike, appreciate you coming on to talk to me.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you.